In this video, I'm going to be breaking down one of the best pieces of PROPLESS mentalism that you can do. This is an effect that a lot of people want to learn but struggle to learn, and I'm going to give you some key tips that will really help improve your hit rate and success with this effect. I'm also going to show you one of my favorite openers of all time and an absolutely mind-blowing mentalism app. What is good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to another video. Today we got Give Me a Breakdown episode 24, breaking down part 2 of the How Did He Feel This Touch Street Magic video. Now this is a special video for a couple of reasons. One, this is one of my favorite street magic videos. There's a ton of incredible knowledge in here. But also, this is the final video that you guys will be getting from this studio, from this home that I'm living in. I am packing up to move this weekend while I'm filming this. This video is coming out tomorrow and I am getting ready to move on Wednesday. I'm very excited and it's gonna be a big change. But the exciting part for you guys is you will be seeing a new studio. I should have a bit better of a dedicated studio now, so I'll actually be able to do a little bit more decorating and hopefully improve the quality of the video, so I'm pretty excited for that. Overall, it's gonna be a busy week. It's been a crazy busy last couple of months. So if you've noticed, we've missed a week or two of videos here and there, please forgive me. And the next month will be pretty busy too, but I'm hoping to keep on schedule as best as I can. And once I get settled, I have a whole bunch of big plans and new projects coming for you guys and for the channel, and some exciting releases on the way. Speaking of exciting projects, I just wanted to quickly let you know that I have recently released my full live lecture, Mental Minimalism, which I filmed in front of a bunch of magicians in Buffalo, New York. It's an absolutely incredible lecture, so if you guys are interested in checking out that, my PROPLESS Mentalism Masterclass, and over 40 other mentalism tutorials, including a recent PROPLESS Chinese Zodiac guest that I just put out, you can go get all of that content by joining the Wizard tier of my mentalism membership. Now let's not waste too much more time today. As always, guys, if you would like a private lesson, links are down in the description. And if you like these videos and the content that I bring to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. And without any further ado, let's jump right into the video.
Alright, you want to touch one for me. Touch one, anyone. Just touch it with your finger. That one right there, you sure? Yeah. Alright, remember that card? Even take it.
So here, another textbook example. Here you see it even a little bit better of the spread force. I talked about this in part 1 of this video. I'm not sure if this is going to be part 1, part 2. It might be in the same video, it might be in the next video, but anyway, if not, I'll link again the spread force up here. This is the ultimate force. It literally is like the surefire classic force. You can see how clean that is, right? He just touches a card and I just turn up and show him his card, and that was actually a force. So this is going to be a presentation of the Diverter app by Mark Kirstein. So this is an incredible effect that allows you to do the sort of calling a stranger plot. So there are two main systems that allow you to achieve this. One is Diverter by Mark Kirstein, one is The Stranger by Jonathan Levitt. The Stranger is a really cool system. I played around with the free trial like a month or two ago, and it's really great. I think the perks of The Stranger, for me, it's having the pre-recorded calls, because I think that's a really nice feature to have when you don't have the ability to set up for an accomplice. Now, The Stranger has the whole Stranger network, and there's always strangers available. You know, I won't get into it too much, but that obviously is a perk. But for me, that's not as important for me. I think it's great if you're a stage performer. Because I'm more close up, I probably wouldn't use that system as much, right? I played around with it a bit. It didn't justify it for me. It's a lot more expensive, The Stranger. It's very well thought out and it's a great app. But just for me, you know, if I'm going to perform an effect like this, I have people who will do it for me, and Diverter is kind of the same thing, but you kind of have the accomplices in it on your own, right? And I have people who, you know, when I'm going out to film for a few hours, hey, are you available? No? Okay, hey, are you available? I'm going out to shoot. Just have your phone on you for the next few hours. Yes? Cool. Boom. And you know, I'm good. Or if I'm doing a gig and I want to perform this. Like I said, the perks for The Strangers is the pre-recorded calls. So you're basically going back and forth with a recording, but it's so realistic. And that's great because then you don't have to rely on an accomplice. That's the perks for me. Overall, with the amount that I do this type of effect, as strong as it is, I still side with Diverter personally, factoring in the price, what it does, all the different things. The UI of Diverter is better in my opinion, but both are great. I use Diverter, so that's what I used here. And this just is such a mind-blowing effect. As a simple playing card revelation, you know, it's mind-blowing. I think I would change the structure though, and I have. As you'll see here, this is one of the first times I ever performed Diverter, I believe. This is like right after it came out. I would have them pick a card and look at it, and then the guy on the phone would reveal it, right? The random number that we call. But then you kind of get this delayed reveal, because like you want to draw it out on the line a little bit. You don't want to just say, hi, who is this? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, name a playing card. Okay, 4 of clubs. Okay, bye. Right? You want to say, okay, just, you know, name a color. Okay, now name a suit. You want to have some discourse. Okay, now name a value. But then you kind of get this delayed reaction because they all know what the card is, right? They know it's the 4 of clubs or whatever. So when the guy says black, they're like, and then he says clubs, they're like, and then he says 4, and they're like, whoa, you know, they freak out a little bit. But if you want the strongest reaction possible, you want it to all punch at once, especially with a playing card. It always hits better if there's that full reveal. That's why, like with Mentalism, when I'm revealing a playing card, I'll still do the drawn out approach, but I'll make sure when I do that final reveal that I say, okay, it's black card, it's a club, it's the 4 of clubs. I don't just say it's a black card, it's a club, it's a 4. You kind of still want to say it's the 4 of clubs. That little bit in linguistics can take it a long way in terms of the reaction you get, but ultimately it's the same thing here. That reaction gets more delayed, and because it's like the person on the phone saying it, you know, they're not going to do any recapping or like, you know, priming your audience to react or all these sort of psychological ploys and walking them to the edge so that they can, you know, give you the best reaction possible. They're not going to do any of that because, you know, they're just some random person. It's tricky. And I think my solution and what I do now is I pick a random card and I have them place it in an envelope or in their pocket, and no one looks at it. And the person on the phone names a card, and then after we hang up, then we check it. Because I also found having that person on the line when they react, for some reason, took away from the reaction a little bit. I don't know if they were a little bit timid. So you'll see this is the old way I do it, but you'll see in some of my more recent videos how I've switched to the envelope variation.
You take it out. You just hold on to it, okay? Now, I want to try something. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll give it a shot. Yeah, all right, let's try it. We're in Ottawa, right? 6-1. 1-3. Name a number. One number, just one digit.
7.
Because we're down to what? There's 9 digits, so there could be 9. So it's your choice. Which one of the 9 numbers we got? The 9. Yeah. Should we call it? Do you think? Who wants to talk? Let's see. We'll see if we get an answer first. Let's see who's ringing.
Those are just little subtleties, right? Should we call it? And I act kind of like this is impromptu, like I wasn't expecting this. Little things make all the difference, because you could see now when I say, who wants to talk? They're all shy, that no one wants to talk, because they feel how impromptu this is in nature. If they felt like this was all rehearsed and pre-planned, then they'll be like, yeah, okay, sure, you know, let's just call it, you know, whatever, I'll do the calling. But they genuinely feel like this is random. And again, it's a nice thing about that little bit of acting and why it's so important to sell that this is impromptu with this type of effect, right? So little things, you can see in my facial expressions. It doesn't always have to be linguistics. You know, a picture tells 1,000 words, same thing. Your face can convey 1,000 words. And I think that's one thing I do well is like, I don't just say things, I give the feeling of it too with my tone of voice, my pacing, my facial expressions, my body language. I'm able to convey those same sort of feelings.
Hey, sorry to bother you. Who am I speaking to?
I'll see you guys.
Hello? Sorry, who am I speaking to? Jimmy? Okay, what's up, Jimmy? How you doing? My bad, bro. My bad. Okay, I know this is weird, bro. I'm a magician. I'm with some guys right now. Say hi.
Hi.
And we just dialed a random number. Do you have like 30 seconds to help us?
Let's go, Jimmy.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Okay,
Come on,
okay,
Jimmy. Come on,
okay.
Jimmy.
Come through. Okay. Okay. You know like a deck of cards, right? There's like red cards and black cards, right? Okay. Which one do you want, red or black? Okay. Okay. And then the suit. There's you know the names of the suits. Okay, which one do you want?
Ahora en noviembre le van a dar permiso. Rula.
Jimmy.
Talk to me, Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy boy.
All right. Is he on the right track?
I don't think so.
So this is interesting. So first of all, I'll say we didn't really rehearse this much. We just kind of freestyled it. He knows what he needs to do, and we just get there and we have fun with it again. But you see my body language, how I'm very apprehensive. I'm very almost nervous in a way. Like I don't know if this is going to work, and it's all in the nature of making this feel sporadic. What's interesting is this guy, I asked him, did it work or are we on the right track, right? Which again is why I don't love this approach anymore, because we're just like slowly getting there, and it's not going to have a great reaction if you're like slow rolling it. But I say, are we on the right track? And he says no, and I could never really figure out why he said no. If he was like trying to mess with me, I guess he thinks I don't know what the card is, so maybe. But it's weird. It's a weird response, right? Like I say, are we on the right track? And he says no, when we are definitely on the right track. So anyway, you'll see how this plays.
Can you name a value for me? Like a playing card. Like name a playing card. Thanks, Jimmy.
There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
Is it?
There's no fucking way. Nah, Jimmy's an actor. Jimmy's an actor.
Bro, you called the number.
Jimmy has to be an actor.
So this one I did end up getting a really good reaction. I just feel like there's even more opportunity, but I don't know. I still have to experiment. I've been doing the other way more recently, and I've got good reactions with that. But now, rewatching this footage, this did get a really good reaction too. And it's funny, they immediately assume Jimmy's an actor, and I'm like, in this case, I chose to push back on them. I'm like, how? You literally dialed the number, right? Because I think it's just so fair in that way that I might as well.
Anyway, Jimmy's a bit actor. Jimmy's a bit actor.
Bro, you called the number.
How do you know Jimmy, man?
I don't. How would Jimmy know the card you're holding, bro? Like, even if I knew Jimmy.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, see, like, I wouldn't always, you got to be careful with the approach of like, really, I'm getting passionate pushing back. It's an act, but the reason I'm doing that is because obviously these guys are saying, oh, it's an actor. Kind of, you can tell it's tongue-in-cheek when they're saying it, but I want to make sure that I stress to them how that is impossible, even though they're right, but how that's impossible because they dialed a random number. And even if Jimmy was somehow I knew him, how would he know the card, right? Like sometimes you just leave it. You leave the audience alone. If it's someone who just comes up to you after and they say, I kind of want to think about how you did that. Like the other day I was performing Earworm by Mark Kirstein, which is basically, you put a prediction on the spectator's phone for a song. They write it down in your notes app to show everyone else. And then when they turn up the volume on their phone, it is playing the song. So I did that and it went great. And then the guy came up to me after. It was just him, right? Just him after alone. And he said, hey, like, that was awesome. I like to try to figure things out. I want to take a guess at how you did it. And I'm like, okay, sure. Like, I don't love when people try to guess it, but I understand that they're going to. Not his fault. And he's like, okay, so, you had an Apple Watch on. So you must have, when I typed it in, you got a notification of what I typed in. He's like, yeah, that's all I know. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting guess. I haven't heard that. That's a good guess, but I actually, you don't have to believe me, but I don't use my Apple Watch at all for any of that kind of stuff. And then I just said, if you think about it, again, I wrote the prediction on your phone before you wrote anything down, and I never touched your phone, right? So I wouldn't have had time to input anything. And he's like, yeah, that's true. And then he just kind of walked away, and I didn't really push back. I just gave him something to chew on and think about, right? Because you just kind of want to keep that little moment of magic, I feel. In this case, this guy's yelling it, and a couple of them are yelling it for everyone to hear. And so I really want to yell back a little bit or push back a little bit and have everyone hear the same explanation, because obviously there's so many subtleties and moments in here that would disprove what he's saying. So I need to emphasize those just to, again, instill that doubt and allow them to leave this moment, even if, that night they went home and they said, damn, Jimmy must have been an actor. But then that thought of me when I was kind of yelling back to them saying, how is that possible? Like, how could I know your card? How could you chose the number? Those thoughts will creep back into their head and they'll be like, yeah, that still doesn't make sense. Like, how could that, you know, there's still, so the moment of magic will live on, right? And that's what I'm trying to do here. Again, this is more of a casual, I'm not going to be screaming back at a corporate event or anything, but a lot of the time, you know, just leave it alone. You know, you can, like I did with the example I gave from the other day, I just pointed out a little thing and I move on. That's usually what I do when people have a guess that's wrong, or if it's right, but I have enough subtlety built into the routine that I know that I can get them off the track, like in this routine. Just point out the things that, you know, they need to keep in mind, because it's not that your spectators are dumb, but they won't always remember all these little subtleties and moments that make what they're saying impossible.
Quick pause in your regularly scheduled program. I just want to let you guys know that I offer one-on-one virtual private magic lessons, perfect for beginner to advanced magicians and mentalists looking to improve their technique, sleight of hand, learn any of my best effects, learn the fundamentals of card magic, mentalism, or absolutely anything. This is the best value in magic in terms of getting you to become a better magician. I can sit with you one-on-one, tell you exactly what you personally need to work on, and teach you a bunch of the incredible material that I perform in my professional repertoire. If you decide to take a lesson with me, you will get 24/7 personal contact, you'll get custom curriculums, personally tailored effects. Every lesson you will get a downloadable recording, giving you something you can keep with you forever and always return to learn at your own pace. Over on my website, I have a bunch of reviews and testimonials, both video and written form, that you guys can check out. And if you'd like some more info or to book a lesson, all you have to do is head over to the link in the description, or feel free to send me an email at rf.sleights@gmail.com. Now, back to the video.
Okay, Quadro.
Perfect.
Okay, hold on.
Alright.
Not gonna run no trick on me, dog.
Alright, sign it.
So this, I think, was the opener for these guys as well. And this is another one of my favorite openers, just the classic 2-card transpo. I'll link my handling of that up above. But you can see instantly this guy says, you're not gonna pull any trick on me, right? And this is where you can get into a little bit of, like, my guard is up when he says that. I'm wondering, okay, do we have a potential heckler situation? You know, what's the vibes here, you know? So I'm just trying to feel him out a little bit, but I am gonna be careful, right? Because he's obviously skeptical.
Make it unique to you. Write it, make it unique. Now, it's not the kind of trick that it matters if I see the card, so don't worry. I'm gonna see it right now. It's not that kind of trick. 9 of hearts, okay? Does everyone remember that? So, hold out your hand for me like this, okay?
Whew, what a sweet top change. So that was the old method. I've talked about this before. The old method I used to do for the transpo. So when you have a signed card, you need to load it underneath the double, right? So I used to do top change and then place this and turn over the double. So now I have it loaded. Now it's much easier. As they're signing it, I'll turn this card face up and then I just take this card back, set it on top, and now the double is loaded, right? Much easier, but this is when I used to do it that way. So I would take the card back and top change. And you can see as I'm turning my body, I execute the top change and then I come back holding this card away from the deck as if it's still their card, and they'll fully believe that. And then I'm gonna show it to them one last time before I actually do the double.
9 of hearts. Your signature. Put your other hand on top. Keep that safe, all right? Now I'm gonna...
So you see, again, I take his hand, I place both of my hands around his, keep it safe. I make sure, you know, he's gonna hold on to it, especially with what he said. I take that extra moment just to be sure, right? Rather be safe than sorry.
Next card in line. 3 of hearts. 3 of hearts. Watch, I'm gonna take that card. Now what I need you to do is sort of pulse your hand like this a little bit. Like this. I know it's weird, but just imagine and imagine.
So you see here how the transpo is such a good opener, right? And this is why I recommend this, especially for beginners, as an incredible opener. This and like 2-card Monty. You know, I still use those as openers all the time. You know, now I also use my Triumph and Unshuffling the Colors like we saw earlier. Those are a bit more of slow burners, they take a little bit longer. But you see, this trick was what, 30 seconds till the moment of magic? Like, it was so snappy, and I have now just taken full control over this environment, this room, these people, they will listen to anything I have to say. I've established my credibility and I am good to go. Now I can get into whatever else I want. You can see instantly, he says, do it on me, show me something now. And, you know, they're ready to go. And that's all it took from, you know, this was another opener. I opened with this for these guys. So that goes from them knowing nothing about me. I did play football with one of these guys, or two of these guys actually, back in the day. But the other guys, and the guy I was doing this trick on, they don't know me. It's just instant credibility established. And you see how quickly it is. Like, I didn't even draw this one out. I always say, you know, with the transpo, have there be something that causes the switch, because you know you're one step ahead, the card's already switched, but you want them to think you're in this position. So you need to sell it. So, you know, I always do this. I say, okay, just go like this. Imagine that ink heat up and, you know, send it across or whatever you want to say. So, you know, do something. And then I usually do this little subtlety where I peek at the card that they gave me and I said, no, it didn't work yet. Keep going. Ba-da-da-da-da. And then boom, turn it over. And I don't say anything. I just turn it and flick it at them and they reveal. Actually funny, this is Kevin Booth's signature. I remember he signed this in Blackpool when I was showing him something. I think whatever I performed is on his channel. I can't remember what I performed. Anyway, so yeah, it's just such a killer opener, and you see how they're all smiling, excited, and they're ready now. I can do anything I want. I have them kind of at the palm of my hands at this point.
Just a fun little experiment. Just gonna tell me some things about you guys as a group. All right? You wanna come here, help me out? Yeah.
So this is an incredible effect. I think this is what I closed this little set with. This is Pete Turner's Midas Touch. I think the most recent place you can learn this is the How to Control Minds kit or his PK book. His PK book talks about this. If you want to learn it on video though, I think it was in the How to Control Minds kit. In book, in print, it's in the PK Touch book from Illusionist. This is one of the greatest propless effects of all time. I think this was my #1 top 5 propless effects of all time. Just because of how much you get out of literally nothing. Right? It's just one of the strongest effects you can do is PK style effects where someone else is feeling the touches. This is, I think, the second time I ever performed this effect for a real audience. Obviously, I practiced it a whole bunch on myself, friends and family things, but this is the first time for, you know, what I would consider a real audience, or second time. And this is still probably my favorite performance, or maybe second favorite performance I've ever done of this effect, that I have on video at least. It's just, when done right, it's such a good effect. There's some moments that are tricky. You know, Pete says it's so easy, it's self-working, and I get where Pete's coming from, but you know, you have to understand that, like, Pete is Pete, and there are moments that most people will struggle with, because it's about timing, it's about delivery, it's about scripting, things that a lot of people don't spend enough time on. So then when you get an effect that is all of that and more, it's hard to master in the beats. And I'll give you some tips here on some things that I have found that really help you improve with this effect if it's something, you know, you're interested in learning. But the first key thing is, you heard me introduce it as a mental experiment. Any piece of propless mentalism, for the most part, besides maybe the star sign guess, because that's literally 100%, but any other piece that has a little bit of risk involved, even not propless stuff, I always frame it as an experiment. I'm framing everything as an experiment, right? Because I want that opportunity, if something goes wrong, that I can say, you know, this is an experiment, it gives me what I need to know about how you think, and I can segue into something else. Especially with this one's pretty much impossible to save. Like, there are some methods, which I'll discuss in a moment, to give you some second chances, but if those don't work, you're kind of out to dry. And so having it as a mental experiment is a must for me, in my opinion, because if you get to the end and everything worked, then there's no need to call back to it. No one will ever remember about this whole mental experiment thing.
So in a second, do you mind if I'm gonna have to poke you for this?
No, it's fine.
Is that okay? Consent?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm just gonna try this out. In a second, I want you to remember every sensation that you feel, okay? Where you feel it, how many times you feel it, hot or cold, firm or soft.
It's always funny with this effect, because I always make the joke of, like, do I have your consent when I say, you know, I'm gonna have to touch you for this or whatever, and I, you know, I'll usually poke them. I'm just gonna have to tap you or whatever. And I say, do I have your consent? And that usually gets a laugh. And then you go into this monologue about, you know, I want you to remember everything you feel, where you feel it, how hard you feel it, you know, it's got some like innuendo involved, and it always gets a funny laugh. And I like the comedy that's kind of built into that, into a more serious routine like this. It gets a good laugh, so I'll always kind of do it. I think it plays well with all groups. Like, this is obviously a group of guys, of course they're gonna laugh at that kind of stuff, but I've done this to groups of girls as well. You know, obviously you got to be careful if you're doing this. Like, if a girl is doing this, you don't want to come across as like creepy when you're doing this. Like, you want to make it clear, especially if it's a woman, that you're not going to be doing anything weird like that. And so you got to tiptoe the line a little bit more carefully. Like, I definitely lean into it more like I am now when I have guys, or a guy at least that's the main person. And then you get this funny moment. And I always think this is a funny thing to kind of play into. But, you know, it's important how I'm setting this up. I'm very clearly telling him to remember everything from this moment forward, where he feels it, how he feels it, all that kind of stuff, right? Very important, as Pete talks about.
That sounds strange, but don't. All right, just whatever you feel. Okay, in a second. So, for example, if you feel me touch you here or here, you'll remember it. Okay, but starting now, forget everything until this moment. Okay?
Yeah.
What was your name again?
Andrew.
Andrew. Perfect. Okay. So this is gonna be a little weird, but I need you to get in the right mindset. In a second, you're gonna close your eyes. They need to stay closed, or this won't work. Keep them open for now. All right. Look up here. There's a ball of light. Imagine it floating, and it goes up, up, up. And you start to get tired as you watch it fall down, and your eyes come down and they close, okay?
So this was like a little pseudo-hypnosis thing I remember Pete talked about. And I think in his version, I might be wrong, but I remember he would do this ball thing, and he would say, like, as you tell them to get tired, as the ball comes down, they'll just kind of close their eyes, and it'll look like this sort of pseudo-hypnosis thing. I mean, I'm not really like a fan of pseudo-hypnosis in that sense, where you're like putting people to sleep. I don't find it's reliable to just as their eyes come down. Like, people don't usually close their eyes, just by they'll follow it down, but they don't close it. So I always say, and your eyes come up and down, and then they come down. And then it is nice because they have this up and then down, and their eyes close. And it does kind of give the feeling of like a hypnotic trance, like you saw with him. Your eyes come up and bring it down, 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 and they close. But I think this is just a nice little setup for this routine.
All right, now keep your eyes closed. Okay. Now you can tell by the sound of my voice, Andrew, I'm nowhere near you, right?
Yeah.
So I think actually what that cut was, is if you know what the method is, I executed it, and then I think which is the big problem that you'll get with this routine. If anything's gonna go wrong, it's this first moment. When you tap them, you say, I'm nowhere near you now. Tap the person over there and you say, but you did just feel me touch you, right? Implying that they felt the touch you just made. The biggest error you can have, and is if they say no here. If they say yes, you're set. The rest of the routine is gonna work. If they say no here, this is the moment that things can go wrong. And so, like I was saying, how do you save it? Well, you can go back and execute the move again. Just go back to them, say, okay, open your eyes again. Let's try this one more time. I'm gonna try to get you in the zone one more time. Ball of light, blah, blah, blah. Do the move, come back and try again. And that's totally possible. And I'll always try twice, but I never try more than twice. If I get a no a second time, then I'll go into, you know what? I don't think this is right for you. You know, we're not in sync, blah, blah, blah. Let's try something else. Now I know how you think, type of deal. But that's kind of my little tip on it, because if you can get that first yes, you're golden. So I think here I actually didn't get a first yes, and I went back and reset, and I just cut that out for the video.
Now, when you just felt me touch you, how many times would you say you felt it? What the hell? Okay, open your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath in and out.
My favorite moment, have them open their eyes and you seem like you're resetting the whole trick when really you're still in the middle of it. But to everyone else, it feels like you've just stopped and you're kind of resetting, which I love.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a few more questions about your feelings. Is that okay? Just close your eyes. All right. So think about the last touch you felt. Was it firmer or softer than the rest, would you say? Firmer. And now you felt me touch you on the forehead, on the arm, but can you point to where you felt that last firm tap? It's weird, right? You can wake up, thank you. You can ask him what happened. He probably has no idea.
You're touching me now.
Weird, right?
And there's an example, you know, people are worried about the dual reality and the things here, and it's such a well-constructed routine. If you perform it right, there's really no need to worry about that. It gets such good reaction. This is one of the most tame reactions, frankly, I've had from this, especially that second phase there. They really got a good reaction here. But I love the moment. It's always fun to see what people say. You know, you always want to know what people say about your tricks, right? How they actually go home and describe them to people. Like, that's always such an interesting thing. This, you get that right in front of you because he has no idea what happened, genuinely. So he goes over and people, usually they'll say, yeah, he never touched you, he was touching whoever. And then you'll see that moment where it clicks in their head and they react, and it's just, you know, there's evidence that it's just a bulletproof routine.
If you want to learn another incredible piece of PROPLESS mind reading that you can use to slay with your audiences, go check out this video right here. Alright guys, that is it for me for this video. I want to take a quick moment to thank you guys so much, those of you who have been watching the videos over the past 5 years that I have been making them. I think, let me just double check, I think we have just passed the 5-year anniversary of this channel. No, not yet. In about 2 weeks, we'll be hitting the 5-year anniversary of this channel. July 14th was the day that I opened it, July 14th, 2020. So I want to take a minute to thank all of you guys for the support. If you've made it this far, leave me a comment. Let me know what videos you guys want to see in the future of the channel. I'm open to continuing to evolve this channel and continue to bring the new content. You know, currently the type of videos that I put out are street magic, performance breakdowns. I have my Mentalism 101 series, my Dear Magician series, and then my card magic and mentalism tutorials, as well as my theory series, how to make your magic better. Some of those series don't get nearly as many views as the others, and I just want to bring forward the content that you guys want to see. So if you have any requests, please let me know. If you would like to check out the channel memberships and help support me and get access to some of my best material and my full mentalism course, links are down in the description. And if you'd like to check out a private lesson, the best way for me to help you one-on-one, links are also in the description. With all that said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.